to the Vegas Benchwarmer channel. This is the Benchwarmer podcast. My name is Eric. You hate me 702, and today I am by myself. So y'all got to deal with the man, the myth, the legend, myself. Jeremy is on a flight to Reno. I'm not sure where Mo and Sam are. They're probably doing something. Mo's probably sleeping. We'll see if they join on a little later. But as y'all can see, I am all geared up in my Sixers gear, and we're gonna talk about my Sixers comeback against my son Celtics. And I do say my son Celtics. He's been on the podcast before. Devin, he is a Celtics fan, and normally he gets to talk shit. So I am extremely happy. Um, I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how this happened. I'm not sure how this happened. I have debated this with a couple people. Um, we had no business the Sixers being in that series. I'm not sure when it shifted. I'm not sure when the momentum shifted. I'm not sure. Um, the games were extremely weird. You had 10, 15 point games going back and forth. Celtics got up to a 3-1 lead. I know Embiid came back and Embiid kind of carried them in game 7, so I completely understand that. But it was just one of those things where I did not believe that we were going to win it until we won it. So shout out to the Sixers. First time that they actually beat the Celtics since 1982. That was the year I was born. So that is 44 years ago. So yeah, shout out to them. And let's talk about it. Let's talk about what happened with Embiid. Embiid came out to play. That man had 34 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists. He had a couple blocks, had multiple shot changing plays, even if he didn't block it, was a real rim protector. And the man was playing through injury. I mean, he was putting it all on the line. On the other hand, Jason Tatum was out due to knee soreness, knee stiffness. I'm not sure what he was out for. But I mean, that's just kind of weird when you have Jason Tatum out and you have Embiid that had like knee surgery 3 weeks ago and he's playing. So I don't know who wanted it more. Maybe the Celtics didn't think that they needed Jason Tatum to beat the Sixers. I'm not 100% positive. But if I had to say when the momentum shifted, it's of course when Joel Embiid came back. When Joel Embiid came back, that's when the momentum shifted. Because the Celtics don't have anybody that can guard him. And to be realistic, there's not a lot of teams that have somebody that can guard a healthy Embiid. I'm not saying that they're going to go ahead and run the table, but if you look in the East or in the NBA overall, you have Wemby, of course. You have the Thunder. They have what, Chet and Harkenstein, which they can throw bodies at them. Minnesota with Rudy Gobert. Of course, you have Denver with Jokic. And we'll see what happens with Karl Anthony Towns. Because when Karl Anthony Towns was in Minnesota, Embiid owned him. But realistically, that's the same reason why Jokic has been able to dominate, because we don't have any big men that can contend with him. Yes, Jokic is very good. He is very talented and very skillful. But if you look at the MVP voting, yeah, Shea snuck in there. But you had Jokic twice. You had Giannis. You had Embiid. You might have had Jokic 3 times. Shit. So I'm just saying, you have big men that are skilled and nobody else can dominate them. So when they're healthy, or they're playing very well, there's not many teams that can handle them. In the West, Denver had trouble with Minnesota. Okay, we know that. They also have trouble with OKC, but that's because of who they have to handle them. They have trouble with the Spurs. But right now, I wonder if this is going to be a shift in the NBA where you see better big men. I mean, you're seeing Jalen Duran in Detroit, which I think Jalen Duran could put hands on Embiid, but you're seeing him in Detroit. He's had a horrible series, and that is kind of why one of the reasons why they were down 3-1 and they're about to make a comeback. We'll see what happens there. I mean, you have Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, but neither one of them, Jared Allen is slowing down and Evan Mobley, I don't know. So I wonder if this is the start of the NBA where the big men starts to come back, because when you think about it, you have Jokic and Wemby and Chet with Isaiah Hartenstein, but Chet, everybody likes Chet. You have more big men that are starting to play down low, I think, even though Chet doesn't play down low. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know whether this was a collapse by the Celtics. I think this is based off of their style of play. They are a team that live and die by the threes. There is a lot of teams that live and die by the three. When you live and die by the three, you live and die by the three. First 3-4 games, their three was falling. Last 3 games, their three wasn't falling. They missed a lot of wide open shots yesterday, wide open 3-pointers. And I know this is the era we live in. As I said, I was born in 1982, the last time the Sixers beat the Celtics in the playoffs. So I'm old. So I'm part of the old school where, when your shot isn't falling, you need a couple things to help you out. You need a couple easy layups. You need to get to that free throw line so you can see the shot go into the hoop. And maybe you need to step forward a couple inches. But in this day and age with analytics and all that stuff, we don't step forward to the mid-range game. And if you're not driving to the basket, it's very hard for some of these people to get fouled. So I did see Jaylen Brown's comment about be flopping and getting a lot of calls, but I'm gonna say the same thing with Shea and a lot of people that do get calls. If you drive to the basket, you are more likely to get calls. Yes, you're gonna flop, but if you guys are missing wide open threes, y'all got to get to the basket. So I wouldn't say it's a collapse. I don't know if it's a choke. Originally, I thought it would be a choke. But after watching Game 7 or paying attention to Game 7, I actually didn't watch it because I was at the Banana Ball game. On my way there, I went from work to the Banana Ball game, but I rewatched most of it, watched the highlights. After watching that, I just think the Celtics game plan is what it's been, and we saw this a couple years ago when they lost in the finals and they lost in the playoffs. When their three's not falling, it just doesn't work. So I will say this is one of the weirdest things because I want to say it's a playoff choke because you're up 3-1 and from the outside looking in, not based off of paper. You had Embiid that barely played and he was held together by duct tape and rubber bands. You have Paul George, who has been a playoff choker for years. Yes, he had that one good run in the Clippers with to the Western Conference Finals. But when I say choker, he's basically not healthy or he disappears in the big moments. Yes, we have a young Tyrese Maxey. And we were a 7th seed. Towards the end of the season, we fell down and we went to the 7th seed, beat the Magic to get into the game, but we were playing tournament. So it's the first time that a 7th seed, I think, has beaten a 2 seed in so many years. You see the 1-8. Then you have the only 14 3-1 comebacks. The last time it happened in the playoffs outside of the bubble was in the finals with the Cavs and the Warriors. So, I mean, if you have a 3-1 lead and you are the higher seeded team, you have 5 and 7 at home. Because after 4 games, it's 3-1. You have 5 and 7 at home. So the only game you have to go on the road is 6. So in that scenario, yes, I do think it's a choke. I don't know if Missoula could have made coaching adjustments because they had nobody that could deal with Embiid. And Embiid showed that and carried it completely. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments whether you guys think this was a Sixers comeback or a Celtics meltdown. Either way, I'm happy and I'm proud that we're moving on to round 2, even though I picked against my team to begin with. So that was I'm sorry. You know what? I'm not even gonna be sorry because if I would have picked y'all might have lost. You might have got swept. So let's see what happens in round 2. And let's get into the round 2 predictions for the NBA. Now I know we still got 2 games left. Okay, I know we still have the Pistons and the Magic, and I know we still have the Cavs and the Raptors. By the way, oh my God, the Raptors. That RJ Barrett. Can we talk about Toronto? Can we just talk about how Toronto gets lucky in Toronto, or when it comes to stuff like this? I know everybody's referring to the Tyrese Halliburton shot against the Knicks. I know everybody's referring to that, where he jumped back and came back. When I saw it, I immediately thought of Kawhi Leonard, just like Donovan Mitchell. My dad even sent me a text message, is like, because if you haven't watched it, when you watch it, it might bring back memories from Kawhi Leonard, but they're calling it Halliburton-esque. That to me was a Kawhi Leonard shot. That was the end of the game, into overtime, clinching. If they lose, they go home. So remember, Kawhi's was a series clinching bouncing that came off. fading away from three over Joel Embiid. So I saw that more as the Kawhi Leonard thing, and I just think Toronto gets lucky when it comes to some of this stuff. Maybe it's the way they play, maybe it's their culture. I don't know. They got a whole country going for them. But shout out to RJ Barrett. That man is from Canada. He got drafted by the Knicks, didn't work out with the Knicks. They traded him for OG Anunoby. And the Raptors got a nice little team right now. So shout out to them. I'm very, very happy for them. So let's get into who we got so far. Because I'm only gonna make the predictions for the games that we know right now. For round one predictions, I am right now 3-3. So the games that I won were the games that most people won. I took the Thunder, I took the Spurs, and I took the Lakers. Okay. So the ones that I lost were I didn't take the Timberwolves, I didn't take the Knicks, and I didn't take the Sixers. So I had the Pistons and the Cavs winning. So I have a chance to go 4-4. I have a chance to go 3-5. I have a chance to go 5-3. So we'll see how that plays out. So right now, I'm not going to go ahead and do the pick those until afterwards. I will tweet those out on Monday. So make sure you're following us on Twitter at LV Benchwarmers. Make sure you're following us on Twitter. Let me know in the comments who you think wins. So right now we got the Thunder versus the La China ain't out yet. They actually won. The Lakers beat the Rockets, and the Rockets have Kevin Durant. There was some drama though, because I read an article that Kevin Durant and the Houston locker room had not got over the Kevin Durant burner account saga. And if you don't know about that, basically Kevin Durant has no problem replying to people on Twitter, but he uses burner accounts. And one burner account was talking shit about his teammates. So we'll start from the top, okay? We'll start from the easiest to the hardest, okay? So the easiest one is the Thunder versus the Lakers. I would love to pick the Lakers. I would love to see LeBron get another ring. I think if LeBron gets another ring, he retires. Okay. I think if he gets another ring, he retires because he has 2 in Miami, 1 in Cleveland, 1 in LA. So that'd give him 2 in LA. That'd give him 5, the same amount as Kobe. I don't think he hangs on for a 6 because I think in that scenario, if he does, he has to take a huge discount. And I mean, he could take a huge discount with the Lakers, but I would love to see LeBron win. I'm a LeBron fan. I'm not a Lakers fan. I don't really care about them, but I'm a LeBron fan, especially the older he gets. He's 41 years old, the shit that he's doing. I'm 44. I was walking around the party animals thing yesterday because we had standing seats only. And at some point in time, I twisted my ankle and I woke up this morning and my fucking ankle still hurts. So I don't have no clue how LeBron's doing this. I need a full 24 hours to recover after playing basketball because my bones just don't hold up the same. So I love watching greatness. I love watching LeBron at his old age get out there and do what he does. As a parent, I love the LeBron stuff. I don't care that Bronny shouldn't have made it. We already know this. We know why the reason why he is. But as a parent, that would be pretty fucking cool to be able to celebrate or do something with my son in a professional setting like that and enjoy that. I think that would be absolutely fabulous. But the Lakers have no fucking chance, okay? I don't care if Luka comes back or not. The Lakers have no fucking chance. The Thunder are going to beat the shit out of them like they did in the regular season. The Lakers do need LeBron to come back or Luka to come back. The fact that Austin Reeves came back, that is absolutely great for LeBron because LeBron's going to have to pick and choose the games that he can do, right? So, I mean, if realistically, game one, he's going to come out probably on fire, and then he's going to have to pick and choose where they go from there. They may be able to get a game or two on him just because of the way LeBron and them are. They may be able to get a game or two. But realistically, this should be a 4-0, 4-1 sweep. I don't see this being close. I think the Thunder's biggest strengths are the Lakers' biggest weaknesses, defending guards. And unless Ayton turns into fucking Arizona Ayton or whatever he played at, I don't see them doing anything. Chet Holmgren is going to have a field day in this. Chet and Shea are going to have a field day in this series. So I got the Thunder winning. I say they win in 5, a gentleman's sweep, but who knows what happens. We'll go to the West. Now, This okay, so I get what you're saying. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the shit that he does is not cringeworthy. I'm not saying that at all. And I'm not saying just because he's old, he's great. Because there are multiple old people that are not great. But LeBron was great before he got old. Granted, LeBron is a very, very volatile person because a lot of people do not like his cringiness. They do not like his what happened with Bronny. They don't like the reading of the book, so he seems a lot smarter. I'm gonna tell you exact. This is the greatest quote I've ever heard about LeBron, and I heard it from Iman Shumpert on a podcast. And Iman Shumpert, I forget who he said told him this, but basically he said he was reading a book or somebody told him this. And people will stay the same age they are when they get money. So like if you're like a 45-year-old, if you're 44 years old and then you become a millionaire, you're still a 40, you're gonna be that, you're gonna act that way kind of forever. And they're saying that in the essence of young people. So LeBron got money at 17, and he basically is a 17-year-old in a fucking 44-year-old's body. The dude loves playing video games. You could see him all. I mean, he is literally he is a young kid in a grown man's body. So I can see how his cringiness and everything, because there's a lot of shit that he acts that's very immature. I remember back in the day when he was with the Sixers, the Cavs in the very beginning, where they had the celebrations for when they came on the court, bowling and all that shit. So I mean, I get it. He's an immature 40-something-year-old. He says some of the dumbest shit. To me, only like an 18 or 19 or 22-year-old is gonna fucking carry a book around like they're reading it, but nobody ever sees him actually read the book. And why do you care that you're reading a book? But he's still great. Outside of his shenanigans and all the shit that he does, that man is still one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He is, and longevity has a huge thing to do with that. Yes, he's been around forever, so he's going to break a lot of records. But if that was the case, there would be a lot of other people that were breaking these records. Vince Carter played for 20 fucking years, and Vince Carter is going to be a Hall of Famer. And Vince Carter was one of the greatest dunkers of all time. But Vince Carter doesn't hold all these records. Like, you've had a lot of players that have played for a while, and they 18 to 20 something years. Yes, to get Kareem's record, to get the number one scoring record, you got to pay longevity. You're 100% right. But yeah, no. If you want to break an assist record for John Stockton, you literally are going to have to play 20 to 22, 23 years. So I think greatness has a lot to do with longevity and a lot of other things. But at 40 something years old, being able to do what he does and still doing it at a great level, it's crazy. It's crazy. Now, yes, he did get blocked by Jabari Smith, but it's crazy. It's crazy. I do, but I do agree with the showing off of the book. I think that is one of the worst things that he's ever done. Besides also that commercial where he did himself with his kid self. Yeah, that one was kind of bad too. Okay, so let's get back to the Timberwolves and Spurs. Timberwolves and Spurs. I'm gonna say this would have been a lot different of a segment if Anthony Edwards was there. This would have been a lot different of a game if Anthony Edwards was there. I don't think Anthony Edwards is going to make it in the series. And if he does make it to the series, they would have to put it to a game 7. Now, Anthony Edwards being on this team would be the X factor for, even with Anthony Edwards here, the X factor to me for the Minnesota Timberwolves would be Julius Randle. But having Anthony Edwards, it allows them to, he would control the tempo, allow Julius Randle to focus on Wemby and busting Wemby's ass and trying to do everything that he can. So that would be the X factor. Right now, the X factor, of course, is Wemby's health. Okay. If Wemby cannot stay healthy, then I do not think the Spurs have a chance, even without Anthony Edwards. Very similar to what happened with the Nuggets. We're seeing the making of, and I'm not going to say the making of a superstar, because I think that term is thrown around way too loosely. But Jaden McDaniels is becoming that guy that the Timberwolves need. If Anthony Edwards is your one, he's going to be your two, with Julius Randle possibly being your three. Um, he's putting the pressure on them in the Nuggets. Like he literally said, we are hunting all the bad defenders on the Nuggets. And then they consistently hunted Jamal Murray at the closing minutes of the game. So he is becoming a villain to a lot of NBA teams and a lot of NBA players, but I love it. I love it. I think he is becoming exactly what they need. He's stepping up in at the moments that they need him to, like a number two should. I would see him more like a Scottie Pippen. So maybe he is becoming a superstar, but I would see him more like a Scottie Pippen role. He's long defensively, can do a lot of good things. But Anthony Edwards is your star. And then I think without Wemby, Jaden McDaniels and Julius Randle can give the Timberwolves a run for their money. So the X factor, of course, is going to be Wemby's health. If Wemby is healthy, and Anthony Edwards doesn't come back, this is going to be a 4-1 series, a gentleman sweep. So I would definitely go with the Spurs here, depending on what happens with Anthony Edwards. If Anthony Edwards comes back and the series is like 1-1 or 2-1, that could be a totally different story. But we'll revisit that situation when it happens. Next up, we got my Sixers versus the Knicks. So this is where I'm a little torn. I'm a little torn because as y'all can see, I'm Sixered out. Now this comes back from 2020. This shirt, this hat, 2020, when the Sixers played the Lakers. So it had been January 25th, 2020. Sixers played the Lakers. My birthday is January 26th. My sister invited me. She lives in New York. She invited me me and my wife out to Philadelphia, to New York, and then we went to Philadelphia so we could watch the Sixers play the Lakers with the possibility of LeBron passing Kobe Bryant for third on all-time scoring list. That's where this comes from. That's when they had Ben Simmons. I was debating between getting a Ben Simmons and an Embiid jersey. Ended up getting a Embiid jersey. Got my Sixers hat from back in the day when it was the Iversons. And then everybody knows what happens on January 26, 2020. Kobe Bryant dies, which also happens to be my birthday. So back then, we was loving it, rocking it. I don't know why I told that story, but yeah, this jersey comes back from then. So right now, Sixers versus the Knicks. Now, this is my dilemma, okay? This is what I'm saying. What is going to be the X factor? The X factor to me is in this game is not going to be as much Embiid, but it's going to be Paul George. So I just want to pull up the stats of Paul George in the playoffs because I think he's played relatively well. I don't think he's playing extremely good. Yeah, that's what I thought. In the playoffs, he's averaging like 16 points. I don't think he's playing very well, but this is where I think he needs to step up defensively and offensively. Due to the fact that he's going to be, I think Tyrese Maxey's going to get his points. Okay, he got his points against Boston. I think he's going to get his points. Jalen Brunson is not a great defender. They're both going to have to work. That's going to be a great superstar battle. Jalen Brunson versus Tyrese Maxey. I think that's going to be amazing right there. So those two may cancel each other out. Embiid, if he can stay healthy, I think Embiid's better than Karl Anthony Towns, especially because the 76ers know how to use Karl Anthony Towns. So in that scenario, I'm guessing that's kind of, I think Embiid's going to win that matchup, but we'll see what happens. So I think it comes down to Paul George. The reason why I think it comes down to Paul George. I'm trying to see what his points are. I thought they were 16, but I could be wrong. 17. Okay, so the reason why it comes down to Paul George is he's had some good games. He had some good games against Boston. I'm not gonna trip. 13, 23. So he scored 23 in game 6, 18 in game 1, 16, 16, 13 last night. I mean, right now he's shooting from the field, 47%. And why am I joking? I have it right here. From the field, he's shooting 48%, and from three, he's shooting 55%. So total field goal percentage, effective field goal percentage, they have a 43. So he's playing good, right? But I need more from him. He's going to go against OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. So we all know that New York has a fucking stacked squad. I mean, what are they starting? Brunson, Mikal, OG, Josh, Carl, we know they got a stacked squad, but it's going to come down to me to Paul George. Paul George is going to have to go ahead and put those shots in. I think he's going to need to bump up his scoring to about 20 points a game. That way he becomes a threat. Doesn't mean he has to shoot all the time, but he's going to have some good games because the Knicks with OG and Mikal. Even though Mikal's not playing great right now offensively, defensively they're sound. And we saw what Mikal did last year in the playoffs. So he can come on out of nowhere. But we're gonna have to be able to count on Paul George. So that way it can free up some space for Joel and Tyrese. So that way OG is not just chilling in the paint and just like cheating off of his guy. So I ultimately think that the X factor is going to come down to Paul George play. I want to watch with superstar battles. The ones I want to see the most, of course, I want to see Tyrese Maxey versus Jalen Brunson. I think that is going to be must see TV. And I want to see Karl Anthony Towns versus Embiid when both of them are healthy and playing at their tops. That's also a good matchup. Let's not forget a couple years ago they got into a fight when he was with Minnesota. So that's a great matchup. It just depends on if Embiid can be healthy. Okay, so the X factor, of course, is Embiid's health. But if Embiid can stay relatively healthy, let me refrain from that. Embiid can play 4 games, 4 to 5, maybe 4 games. As long as Paul George can step up in some of those games, we might have a good shot. I mean, Atlanta gave them a run for their money. The problem with Atlanta is young. So besides CJ McCollum, Atlanta's kind of a younger team. So with that, I don't know if our team can run like that. It's going to be a lot more half-court offense. There's Tom Thibodeau's not there no more, so we know these motherfuckers are going to get tired from only playing 6 people. So, I mean, if I had to pick with my heart, I'm going with 76ers. I'm rooting for my 76ers. But realistically, I think the Knicks should beat us in 6, depending on Embiid's health. I could see it going 7. But I'm done picking on these things based off of my stuff, my lineage, who I like, my history. 76ers could win. It's a long shot. I would say the Knicks in 6. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not picking the other 2 games because, or the other game because we don't know who's there. But let's talk about this matchup today. We got Pistons versus the Magic. Magic had a 3-1 lead. And then all of a sudden the Pistons started playing like the Pistons should play. Cade Cunningham started stepping up. He stopped having as many turnovers. The Magic had a 24-point lead in game 6 and somehow lost that. I am going to go with who I originally picked with the Pistons winning. So if the Pistons were originally, I've already picked them. I think the Pistons are going to continue to win. I think the Franz Wagner injury has severely hurt the Magic. And then the Cavaliers and the Raptors. This one's crazy. Okay. This one's crazy because I picked the Cavs to win. I did not think that they would be in a 7-game series with the Raptors. Poo-poo on me for not understanding how good the Raptors were. But is James Harden going to show up? We know what James Harden does in closeout games. We know James Harden disappears. And if James Harden disappears, is Cavs going to be able to win this? So, I mean, I originally picked the Cavs, but right now I'm going to go with the Raptors. I'm going to go with the underdogs. After the RJ Barrett shot, I would love to see another series with Toronto. Going. Love to see another series with Toronto and the Pistons. I think that would be a great series to watch. So yeah, that's what I'm going with. Once we get the round 2s, I'll send out my predictions on Twitter, and some of them might change, knowing what we're picking. I might end up picking the Sixers after all. So some of my predictions might change. But yeah, there we go. Next, what we getting into? I don't know if you guys saw, but the Mexican Monster, David Benavidez, there was 2 fights this weekend. One of them was really tactical and good, and that was Inoue against Wanto Unito. I'm not sure. I did not watch that fight. I watched the highlights. 12-round decision. Inoue got tested. That was a very, very good fight. For a very tactical fight. There was it was kind of slow. Not a lot of big punches, but there were some big flurries. So, I mean, Juanito Nadequito, I think his name was, 12-round decision. There were no knockdowns. From the highlights I saw, they had a wide. The judges had it wide, so it was 116 to 112 on two scorecards for anyway, and 115 to 113 on the other scorecard. From the highlights, it didn't look like that, but again, I did not watch the fight, so I couldn't tell you exactly what happened. But yeah, that was a very good technical fight. That is not a fight that will get a lot of boxing fans involved in, or casual boxing fans, because it's not a knockdown, it's not a knockout, it's not a drag out. That was the sweet science. That was the science of boxing. That was a chess match. So very good match. And then on Saturday we had the complete opposite. We had David Benavidez against Gilberto Ramirez. Now, oh, by the way, Inua and Juanito were both 32-0. David Benavidez, of course, we know his record, undefeated. Ramirez only had that one loss up until that point, and he had not lost in cruiserweight. David Benavidez was going for the championship, and he is the first fighter in history to win titles at 168, which is super middleweight, 175, which is light heavyweight, and cruiserweight. First fighter, and then after he wins, he calls out Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is not fighting you, man. I know you want to call him out. I know everybody wants to see that fight, but he's definitely not fucking with you now. Okay, he's not fucking with you at all. He lost to Terrence Crawford, who was a smaller guy. Terrence Crawford made him look horrible. Now, granted, you and Terrence Crawford are two different people, but you are so much bigger. And after the performance you just put on, there's no fucking way he's stepping in the ring with you. This man is trying to get paydays and easy money so he can continue to get that pay. Easy fights, I mean. He doesn't, well, let me rephrase that. No fight is an easy fight, but he doesn't want dangerous fights. You are a fucking dangerous fight. He is not coming to fight you. Please stop calling that man out. All you're doing is pissing everybody off, because we would have loved to see that fight when you guys were both at super middleweight. But right now, you are dominating motherfuckers, and you're scary. And Canelo knows this. Canelo is not fighting you. So I understand the call out. I just don't think it was warranted. I think you're just hyping everybody up for no reason. Because Canelo is, if he wasn't fighting you at 168, he didn't fight you at 175. He's damn sure not fighting you at cruiserweight. You have a better chance to call out Jake Paul, okay, and get that payday than you have for calling out fucking Canelo. That shit, Canelo better not step in the ring with your ass. Okay, so this was a 6-round bout. If you have not seen this fight, please go and watch the highlights. David Benavidez is one of the scariest boxers I have ever seen in my life. And he gets scarier and scarier the heavier he goes. So at 168, I remember watching this fight. I remember when he fought Caleb Plant. I picked Caleb Plant on this podcast with Jeremy. Jeremy picked the Mexican Monster. He proceeded to move his way up and still fought people. But in this fight, oh my God. He threw a flurry of punches 3 to 4 times. And all of these punches came. You think Benavidez is ducking? Well, we'll get into that in a second. I don't think he's ducking anybody. I think Benavidez is doing what a lot. Well, you know what? We could call that ducking. Benavidez is doing what I think a lot of fighters do nowadays. When they get to a certain point and they become that money machine, they now care about the money. I'll say the same thing happened to Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford beat Errol Spence. Then he cared about the money. Took that one fight to Canelo and was out. So I think David Benavidez might be there, but we could talk about that. We could talk about Jai Opita. Definitely talk about that. Thank you for chiming in. I appreciate you very much on that. But yeah, so David Benavidez, there was 3 times, and 2 of these times ended with a knockdown. That man hit him. Benavidez hit Ramirez like 7 or 8 times in a row. And he didn't even hit back. And it was crazy because they're sitting up there boxing, and all of a sudden Benavidez is like, bah, 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 bah. And it's just like straights. Like the guy would duck and Benavidez, bah, 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 bah. And they came so fucking fast. Even the announcers were surprised by the hand speed. And I don't know if Ramirez was just so much slower because he's cruiserweight and so much bigger, was not used to that. But oh my goodness, those were terrifying combinations. And 2 of them resulted in basically a knockdown within 5 seconds later. So the second round, well, he did it 4 times, maybe 4 times. First round, he did it. Second round, he did it. And I know, or first round, he did it. Fourth round, he did it when he knocked him down. And then the sixth round, he did it like 10 seconds before the knockdown. Now, let's get into the controversial knockdown because I'm not sure if people have seen this. If you have not seen the highlights, just go watch it right now. Pull it up on a different tab, Twitter, watch it, and then come back so that way y'all can tell me in the comments if I'm tripping on this. Now, so the final altercation, final combination went something along these lines. I'm just pulling it from memory. I'm not watching it right now. But they were standing, got it toe to toe. David Benavidez did it, da-da-da-da-da. He backed up and he hit him with his left. And the left came around like this, right? And boom. And as he hit him, as he was coming back to come up with this right, he elbowed this motherfucker. He bam, bam. And that's when Ramirez stepped back, saw his eye. Now, Ramirez's eye was closed. And a lot of that was because Ramirez was going down like this. Benavidez, so let's get that out the thing. There was an elbow. Okay, I've seen it in slow motion like 3 or 4 times. Once you see it, you can see it in fast motion. There's no problems. As soon as you notice it in slow motion, you can watch it 15 times and you see it. It's incidental contact, no big deal. Do I think that caused the fight to be over? No. I think David Benavidez was whooping his ass and the guy was on the ground. The ref got to 7 or 8. And if I'm not mistaken, Ramirez spit out his mouthpiece and the ref said it was over. Ramirez's whole eye was closed. He could not see any punches coming from the right side. If this was back when I was a kid, Ramirez would have been in the corner saying, cut me, Mick, cut me. Because they had to cut his eye open so that way he could get relieve some of that pressure and see. But you can't do that no more in this day and age because we know what happens. So Benavidez fucked him up. Let's see. I have David Benavidez at number 6 pound for pound. Below Bolivar, Shakur, Bam Rodriguez, Monster. I ain't mad at that list. I am not mad at that list at all. I definitely agree right now. Usyk is up there. Number 1, trying to think. I don't see, because Terrence Crawford retired, I don't see any problem with that. Monster, I was just talking about the Monsters fight. Great fight versus Juanito. Classic, sweet science battle. Bam Rodriguez, I think, is very, very good. My only issue is I don't know. I don't know if I'm probably putting David Benavidez over Shakur. I'm not saying Shakur is not great. I think Shakur is very, very good. Shakur is a very good fighter, but at the same time, I'm trying to think in my head of how many champions, how many major champions he beat outside of Lopez. And he made Lopez look fucking stupid. So that would be my thing. I'm probably going to put Benavidez ahead of him. Benavidez is a 3-weight champion, and he's done something that nobody has ever done. But outside of that, I don't have no problem. I would probably put Bivol. I would put Benavidez above Bivol too. So I would have Benavidez, Bivol, Shakur in that scenario. But outside of that, I think that's a very good list. Very good list. So yeah, Benavidez is great. I think he's good. Let's see who he fights next. I also think he's being smart by moving up in weight class. Because he didn't stay at light heavyweight very long. I don't know if he's gonna stay at cruiserweight forever, but I think he's very smart in moving up. It'd be great if he could move up to heavyweight and fight Usyk. That would be an amazing fight. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens with Benavidez next. But that man is scary. And the monster, anyway, he is that. If you guys did not catch that fight, just go and watch the highlights. If you're not a real boxing fan and you're just a casual fan, it may not be a fight that you want to watch all 12 rounds of, because I thought it was exciting from what I saw. Again, I didn't see the whole fight. I still got to go back and watch it. I just kind of watched the highlights. But that was on the zone. So, but even in the highlights, you could see the sweet science, you could see the calculations, you could see the feet movement, you could see the chess match that they were going. There was this one point where Inoue threw out a straight, bam, it missed, but he kind of ducked with his head movement, pulled it back, and hit him again with the second. That is impeccable talent. When you watch something like that. When I'm watching boxing, a lot of my boxing I'm watching, when I watch it and I'm watching the highlights and the replays and stuff like that, I'm looking at multiple things. So I may watch something 5 to 6 times because I want to see head movement. I want to see hand placement. I want to see feet movement. So watching that fight was the highlights that I saw was amazing. I'm going to go back and rewatch the whole entire fight. But again, that might not be a fight that you show a casual boxing fan because you're probably going to have to explain a lot of stuff because they may not just pick up right away. David Benavidez versus Gilberto Ramirez is something you show a casual boxing fan. If you want a casual boxing fan to get involved in a fight, you show them the Mexican Monster versus Zurdo or whatever the hell his name was, because that's the fight that they understand immediately. Oh shit, this is on a different level. Boy, his hand speed as a cruiserweight is so ridiculous. So ridiculous. So let's see. Let's see what he's talking about with this ducking of Jai. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep. Took me a second. So Jai called out David and Gilbert Arena. Yeah. So, but David called out Canelo. I could see that. But this is also why I think that David Benavidez right now is going to go for the money fights. That's a dangerous fight for David Benavidez. I completely agree with you on that. Dangerous fight. But that's why I think he's going to go for the money fights. I think from here on out, that's why I think a Usyk fight may happen. Usyk is a smaller heavyweight, but that would be a huge, big money fight. So I'm not sure. I hope we don't get to this with David Benavidez where we get the Canelo treatment, where they start to kind of pick their fighters. Oh, shout out to Munga too. Munga won on the David Benavidez undercard. He won a super middleweight title. If people don't remember, I think his name is Jamie Munga. He was the one that got beat by Canelo Alvarez a couple years ago. He won the title after 7 years of losing it 7 years ago. So shout out to him. But yeah, I think David Benavidez might go to that Canelo route where he takes tries to look for a couple big fights. The next one he wants Canelo. Maybe Bivol comes up. But I don't know. I can't imagine his camp not talking about Usyk. I cannot imagine that fight not happening. If I'm his camp, if I'm his agent, if I'm his representation, depending on what happens in this Usyk fight, which we all think is going to win, I'm definitely on the phone with him to see if we can get a fight. That would be an amazing fight for both of them. Would make a lot of money. Would put butts in the seats. I think that's an outstanding fight. So we'll see what happens with David Benavidez. Very, very good. Very good. Very good weekend for boxing. Okay. Very good weekend. Boxing was represented very, very well. All right, last thing we're going to talk about. Now, I should have got my New Day shirt out, but I'm so excited about the Sixers win. I should have got my Bootios box out, but I'm so excited about the Sixers win. Yes, I have a box of Bootios. I will find where my wife has put them, and I will bring them on maybe the next podcast. So, reports are that the New Day and WWE have mutually agreed to part ways. This one hits hard. Okay. This one hits hard. Now, there's two things that I immediately am thinking about. Okay. One, is this a real story? Is this the real story? WWE and New Day decided to part ways? Or is this a story? Is it a work? I'm not convinced. I'm not sure how to feel on this one. I wish Jeremy was here. He's in Reno. We will definitely talk about this next week if something doesn't happen. But it doesn't, and it's the worst part, I think. I did not see Shiloh tell the reporter that, but I did see Shiloh tell Adrian Broner that he could last a round with him, and I laughed my fucking ass off. I don't know if you saw that, but it was when Adrian was training with Dean the Great. Shiloh was there, and Shiloh said, with the shape that you're in, I could last a round with you. And Adrian Broner basically said, no, the fuck you couldn't, because that'd be the greatest round of my life. So I did not see him tell a reporter to make him a sandwich. If I did see that, I'd have to see the context. I'd immediately laugh. I think that's funny humor. I'd immediately laugh about that. Just like I still laugh when Cam Newton says it's funny to hear women talk about plays. I'm not. I would laugh. I think that is funny ass fucking humor to me. So some people may not like it. I'd have to see the context of it to see how the lady responded. But I mean, if the lady came back and said, "Fine, go fix my fucking car," I think it'd be hilarious. So I know the day and age we live in, some people are gonna get up in arms about that. So I'm gonna have to look that up after the show. But I don't know if the New Day is a story, is real story. I don't know if they actually left, or I don't know if this is a work, if this is a storyline. We saw it, and the worst thing this is the problem with the WWE right now, right? You have to question everything because everything is for shock value. We saw John Cena turn heel for no fucking reason last year. We saw Travis Scott come out and cost somebody the championship for no fucking reason last year. We just saw Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee inserted into a main event in WrestleMania for no fucking reason last year. This year, I show Speed teaming with Logan Paul to get turned on by Logan Paul to have a fight with Logan Paul for no fucking reason. I know I show Speed has been training. So they are all about shock value. When AJ Styles lost to Gunther, I didn't believe it. They're all about shock value. And this one makes very, very little sense because reports are New Day signed a 7-year contract last year that gave them like 6-7 figures. So they got in the millions, right? No big deal. But why would they ask for their release? Are they going to go over to AEW? New Day doesn't seem like they fit in AEW. AEW seems more raw. New Day doesn't seem like they fit in AEW, and New Day seems like they would get lost in the shuffle. Are they going to go over to TNA? If they're going over to TNA, TNA and WWE has a working relationship. So now, is this a work? I just don't get it. I don't get what the fuck is going on. You have New Day turn on Big E last year for no fucking reason. Nothing comes of it. Yes, they win a championship. Yes, they're doing what they need to do. They took on this little persona, kind of fucking funny. Awesome. I always love the New Day. They got Grayson Waller. That makes sense why Grayson Waller was fighting Obi Femi on Monday. 100% makes sense. I'm not sure what the fuck is going on. You have a great storyline with Kairi Sane and Io Sky and Asuka, and somehow Kairi Sane gets cut. So I don't know what the fuck is going on, WWE. And it seems like out of all of the people that you would want on your team and would want to stay there, it is New Day. Let's not forget, New Day has hosted WrestleMania. There was years where New Day was at every single WWE pay-per-view, even if they weren't wrestling, because they were that big. They literally got boxes of cereal made. So it was the Kofi Mania, which, by the way, I went back and watched that yesterday on YouTube. Kofi Mania, the amazing. What happened with Big E when you split them up? Somehow both of them lost to Brock Lesnar. So I just don't get it. How do you let such a talented team go that, yes, Big E was gone and Big E hurt himself. And maybe without Big E, you felt like they lost direction. You couldn't replace Big E, so you can't just bring somebody else in to replace him because that never works. But why couldn't it just go back to regular Kofi and Xavier Woods? Let them run with the tag team championships for a while. You got 2 of them, fucking 3 of them. NXT, WWE, SmackDown, and Raw. So you have the benefit of using them. Why the fuck did you not use them? What are you doing with your tag team division? How do you let them go? I don't get it. Or is it a story? Is it a work? Is it a work? If it's a work, then what's the payoff? Street Profits just came back. What's the payoff? Do they go and relax for a year, for a couple months, heal up, and then come back? I need to find more details out about what happened because right now I'm not feeling what's going on with the New Day. They should have been lifers. Well, I know they weren't lifers because Xavier Woods was someplace else, but technically they should have never left. You have certain people that you should keep around because the New Day hypes up the crowd. They're naturally charismatic that people want to get behind. We've seen all the Royal Rumble saves from Kofi Kingston. Maybe the direction you had for them was not going in the right way. Some people don't need to be broken up, but your tag team division isn't really great. You have Logan Paul and fucking Austin Theory as the title holders. And Who's the other title holders? I don't remember. It was the MFTs for a while or somebody else. I don't fucking remember. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure about it. I don't know what's going on. To me, that was a sad day when that happened. And what happens with the tag team division? So maybe they're retiring, but if they're retiring, they should have retired by themselves. Uh, I don't, or they should retire. They should have just kind of retired. But yeah, is it a swerve? And what if it's not? Is the legacy of the group? They're one of the greatest tag teams of all time. That group with New Day, Kofi Kingston, Big E, they've won multiple titles. Kofi's won, I think, every title. Tag team, United States, Intercontinental, and Heavyweight Championship. So you have Big E winning the Heavyweight Championship. He might have had the next championship, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, yeah, that I'm not understanding how that became such a how they let them go. I don't get it. I want to know what happened. I need to see behind the scenes unless it's a story. And if it's a work, what's the payoff? Food for thought. Let me know in the comments if you guys think that the New Day storyline is a work or if they actually left. Also, let me know in the comments your round 2 NBA predictions. And make sure you do all that social media stuff. Follow, like, subscribe, share. Really helps the algorithm in our YouTube channel. If you happen to see any shorts, hit a like and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year. So you guys, I have nothing else to talk about. I appreciate everybody that joined in. And everybody, please have a blessed weekend, rest of your weekend. And we're out. Put me in, coach. Peace.